Hello friends, welcome back. In this tutorial, we will study about unguided media. Unguided media transport electromagnetic waves without using a physical conductor. And this type of communication is often referred to as wireless communication. In this case, what happens? Signals are normally broadcast through free space and they are available to anyone who has a device capable of receiving them. Unguided signals can travel from the source to destination in several ways: ground propagation, sky propagation, and line of sight propagation. So first of all, we will study about ground propagation. In this, what happens? Radio waves travel through the lowest portion of the atmosphere, hugging the earth, as you can see here in this figure. These low frequency signals emanate in all directions from the transmitting antenna and follow the curvature of planet, right? And here the distance depends on the amount of power in the signal. The greater the power, the greater the distance. Now, sky propagation. In sky propagation, what happens? Higher frequency radio waves radiate upward in the ionosphere, where they are reflected back to the earth, right? Next is line of sight propagation. Now here what happens in line of sight propagation? Very high frequency signals are transmitted in straight lines directly from antenna to antenna. In this case, antennas must be directional, facing each other, as you can see here in this figure, and these antennas are either tall enough or close enough together not to be affected by the curvature of the earth. Right? Now see what happens. We can divide wireless transmission into three broad groups: radio waves, microwaves, and infrared waves. So first we will study about radio waves. Radio waves for the most part are omnidirectional. When an antenna transmits radio waves, they are propagated in all directions. Radio waves, particularly those waves that propagate in the sky mode, can travel long distances. Radio waves, particularly those of low and medium frequencies, can penetrate walls, and the radio waves use omnidirectional antennas, right? Radio waves use omnidirectional antennas which send out signals in all directions. Radio waves are used for multicast communications such as radio and television and paging systems. Now we will study about microwaves. Microwaves are electromagnetic waves having frequencies between 1 and 300 GHz. Microwaves are unidirectional. When an antenna transmits microwaves, they can be narrowly focused. This means that the sending and receiving antennas need to be aligned. Microwave propagation is line of sight, right? Since the towers with mounted antennas need to be in direct sight of each other, towers which are far apart, they need to be very tall, right? Since what happens that microwave propagation is line of sight, right? And since the tower with mounted antennas, they need to be in direct sight of each other. Therefore, the towers which are far apart, they need to be very tall. Very high frequency microwaves cannot penetrate walls, right? Very high frequency microwaves cannot penetrate walls, right? And what happens? Microwaves are used for unicast communications such as cellular telephones, satellite networks, and wireless lines. Now we will study about infrared waves, right? Infrared signals can be used for short range communication in a closed area using line of sight propagation. Infrared waves having high frequencies cannot penetrate walls. We cannot use infrared waves outside a building because the sun's rays contain infrared waves and they can interfere with the communication.